Hi everybody!
Hello!
It's the start of the new flying season and time to start ground handling again really, because everybody's probably had a bit of downtime. So we put a call out on Instagram the other day, didn't we, for some ground handling questions, just to try and
jig people up,
get the season started right.
We got a lot more than we expected, but today we're going to try to answer some of your ground handling questions. First question for you, Gemma, is it possible to launch oneself into the air without holding or touching the brake lines?
Good question. It's definitely possible to launch the glider from static without using the brake lines. Yeah. Whether it's a good idea or not is a different matter.
That was going to be my point exactly.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah.
We've done it in a June, super laminar air. We know the glider very well.
Yeah.
And we're only taking off a little bit off the ground. Yeah, it's totally possible. Probably don't want to do it unless you're in a very safe environment.
Always be in contact with your brake lines when you're at a takeoff and when you're about to take off is the general rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are higher rated gliders harder or easier to handle? And there's a follow-up question with this one, which is, does a glider being a two-liner affect ground handling in a noticeable way?
Yes, is the answer. There you go. Thanks for coming.
Higher rated gliders are harder to handle, and two-liners does affect it in a noticeable way. Yeah,
and higher rated gliders are usually two-liners.
Yeah.
And with the two-liners usually comes... Basically, the lines don't make a huge difference, except for your mostly inability to B-stall, because B-stall is... you would change the angle of attack rather than deforming the chord of the glider. But the biggest issue is because as you go higher in the ratings of gliders, they tend to be more aspecty, more longer and thinner chord, and this means instead of the wing behaving as one thing, as one unit that you turn left, turn right and do all that, it starts to move in the span. So you might have the wingtips coming in and the whole thing snaking around. So it just takes a bit more management, and you might choose to pull inside lines, pull outside lines, rather than just A's, B's and C's and brakes. Some people believe that ground handling is for beginners. Please break this myth. It's not so much of a question, it's more will you please do this? It's a request.
Yeah, well, someone has clearly recognised that ground handling is for everybody, which it is. Everybody who paraglides or paramotors loves flying. They clearly got into it because they want to fly. So flyable, and if it's flyable, it's ground handleable. So basically people will always choose to go flying over ground handling.
I would say the other thing as well is most people inadvertently see it as a bit of a graduation where you don't know how to fly, then you go to school and learn, you start with ground handling, and then once your ground handling is good enough, you graduate to the instructor lets you fly. Yeah. So you think, okay, I've done that. Yeah. Now I'm a flyer, right? So then it's very hard to feel like you're going back to school and go like, why do I need to... Ex-Alps pilots, ground handle all the time. Acro pilots, ground handle all the time. And these two groups are probably the most skilled paraglider pilots in the world. Yeah. So if they do it, it must be for a reason.
Another demo of step-by-step 360 wing practice, please.
I think we've done one about this already, so I'll link the video. But basically, as the wing is above you, you have to have your risers crossed in the correct way. So you're going to pull the brake first on whatever riser is furthest away from you. So one is right in front of you, the other one is behind. You pull on the one behind. So it's above you, you pull, it twists this way, keep pulling. Yeah, you want a very big sharp input and stay down. I think it goes this way. When it starts going from 90 degrees to nose down, you pull on the other one. So you pull, it starts to turn. Now it's upside down, right, like as if you were flying. So you start pulling on this one to slow it down so it doesn't hit the ground. And then you can this one, as it goes 180 nose down and then starts to go this way, you release the second brake again so that it continues to rotate the other way. And then as it goes there, it's now back facing up again and it's lost a lot of energy. And then you probably, on most wings, you have to give it a little bit of A so it doesn't actually hit the ground. And then you're up again. But you are now the other way. So now the opposite riser is on top.
I don't know whether I looked like I was zoning out or not then, but I was trying to visualise it as you were doing it and being like,
I should have a little...
Oh, this is an interesting question. Which paraglider is the best for ground heli?
This is the same as the 360, I think people. It's basically spinning the wing 360 when you're on the ground. It doesn't really matter, but it makes it a lot easier when the lines are as long as possible. So the distance between you and the wing is super long, like an acro glider. and the wingspan is as short as possible because you have a lot more. If the wing is this size and you spin it, you have all this distance to the ground. If the wing is this wingspan and you spin it, you only have this wingspan to the ground. We made a test of this, remember, with a really long extension.
Yeah.
Where the wing was twice about, and we could almost do like 2 helis, insert a clip here.
Yeah, and if you think about a kite, like we've seen people do it on kite surfing kites.
Oh, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
There's the triple or quadruple loop these days, definitely.
Yeah.
Another one is quite common question. Do you have any video explaining to make a Cobra launch? And in which situations is it useful to use the Cobra launch? And what should I master before trying to learn a Cobra?
Okay, yeah, we do get the Cobra question a lot. I think because it's called Cobra, it sounds really cool.
Sounds cool, yeah, and it looks cool too.
Yeah, actually, I don't remember whether we've got any videos on our channel that are specifically about Cobra. I'm sure there's plenty, and if we find one, we'll link it here. But on our ground handling course, the intermediate module, which again links here, we've got one on lateral control, which I think mentions the Cobra launch.
I think it's really important to learn the side control and tip touches and knowing how your wing moves side to side when you're on the ground to be able to then master the Cobra.
Exactly, yeah. When we do our ground handling retreats, we always the thing that we end up spending most time working with people most of the time is lateral control, because once you've mastered lateral control, that's when you can move on to master all the other things, including the Cobra launch.
And it's funny because it doesn't really matter if you're a 5-hour pilot fresh off the school, or we've had like PwC pilots with hundreds if not thousands of hours. Lateral control is still one of the main causes for loss of control, because people don't really know what's happening. So
and then you just want to rather than trying to sort it out.
The Cobra is really cool. I think in the other question related to this as well is, when is it useful? Mostly for strong wind takeoffs, when the wind is very
when you
sharp.
don't want your wing to be set up and to just self-inflate without you being ready for it. Kind of thing.
So that when it inflates, it doesn't inflate with so much force that it pulls you off your feet. But there's also another situation. If you do this, if you're the cliff, do that.
Am I the cliff?
Yeah, you're the cliff and the wind's coming here and does this. It's very sharp here. So here you have wind, but here it curls around and you don't really have to. So if you lay your wing out here, it's not going to come up like this.
So you've either got no wind or you've got a bit of rotor.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can Cobra, you can put your wing right on the edge here and then bring it up. I think we have some video of that.
And just about a video specifically on Cobra Launch, that is coming in the module that we are working on, which is the Proficient module, which...
number 4.
We've already started filming for, but it's not quite finished yet, but that will be getting added to our course.
Busy, we're sorry.
Sorry. What is the cheapest wing for ground handling? Good question. Probably the cheapest one that you can find second hand.
Yeah. So we are big advocates of, first and foremost, always ground handle the wing that you're going to fly, because that's the most important one to know well. Yep. Second one is a ground handling wing. Doesn't matter the brand. Ozone does the Roadrunner, which is pretty good, but other wings do similar. Usually it's based on ENA or ENB shrunk down to about 12-14 square meters. But what I learned on, which I wouldn't recommend, and is the answer to your question, is a really old beat up wing from eBay for $50. I would not recommend it.
We call it the pig.
Yeah, we still have it.
We still have it somewhere.
It's
probably growing mold somewhere.
Insert clip here. But it's terrible. But, you know, some people, and I didn't at the time, I had 500 euros for my main wing, which again I wouldn't recommend. And I had 50 euros for and that's it. I didn't have any more money. I was, scratching at the time. So if that's all you can afford, that's better than nothing. But just bear in mind that
cheapest does not mean best. So probably again the cheapest and best. I don't know.
Oh, you mean the best ratio of price?
The best ratio, yeah.
I would say a second-hand ground handling wing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when I try to take off, I get a collapse. Could you explain why is this happening?
Okay, there's probably a couple of reasons why this could be happening. It could be the conditions. It could be,
turbulence.
some turbulence.
But let's imagine the wind is pilot error. It's not the conditions.
It's not actually when I inflate the wing. It's when I go to take off. It's probably brake input, isn't it? It's probably about
lack of
exactly.
Or running. You could compensate with running. But talk us through the actual like what is happening physically with little hands.
So the wing comes up.
Sideways.
What?
Do you want to do sideways? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the wing.
Yeah.
And when you go to take off, if you don't have whichever side you don't have enough brake.
So I'm here. The pilot is here, and the wing is here.
So you don't have enough brake on this side. This side is going to go forwards.
Oh yeah.
In the winged window.
Mm-hmm.
When you pull brake, it goes back. If you pull brake symmetrically, they both go back. If you release brake symmetrically, it goes forward. If you don't catch that wing, it will go like that, and then the wind's hitting it at the wrong angle, and it goes and it collapses.
Yeah,
so
because the wind's coming like this. So if the wing is like this or like this, it stays inflated. But if the wing goes forward and this angle it goes like this, it goes.
Yeah. So usually a collapse or either one wingtip or a frontal collapse, a symmetric one, is about you've not got enough brake input usually.
Yeah.
Or again, we've got a lesson coming up on this about launch practice, which is you're letting the wing move faster than you are moving with it. So the wing is going faster, and you're not running enough. Basically,
it's all about the wind window, and we do have lessons on the wind window already. Go and check out the course. Let's say the wing is here, you are here. This goes, you pull on the AAs, it comes up. Okay, now it's here. And now, if you don't do anything, it's going to overshoot, right?
Yeah.
So to stop this overshoot, you can pull on the brakes, and it does this, and it goes, ooh, and it kind of brakes, and it stays above.
But not too much, because it'll come back down.
Or you could go, ooh, and it gets to here. To keep it from doing this, you can move forward, and now it's back in the wind window. So with your feet, and this is how you take off, with your feet, you're making the wing. It's not about where the wing is, it's where the wing is in relation to you. So if you move, you can move the wing or you can move yourself, and usually we do both.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's useful.
Yeah, and not confusing, but it's explained better in the video if you want to watch the video. Sheathed versus unsheathed lines at the beach. Does it matter? And will it destroy the line set in a short period of time?
One afternoon. So we get this question a lot, maybe not just in the lines, but about the cloth in general. Yes, being ground handling and moving with your wing at the beach and in sand is abrasive, will deteriorate the life of your glider. However,
more rapidly than other situations.
I would say just in general.
Yeah.
Like, because how bad is a rock for your glider? It's also bad, right?
Yeah,
so I wouldn't say necessarily is worse. It depends how people use it. Because if you spent the exact same amount of time on the grass, would it be better? Would it be worse? Who knows? No one does that. So what I would say is flying your glider is also damaging your glider because it's getting stretched, it's in the sun, blah, blah. But you just feel like that's what it was made for. Well, it was also made for ground handling. We have lightweight gliders with lightweight cloth, and we haven't seen a huge amount of issue when we're flying them for 3 or 4 years now, the Geo and the Swift, and they have unsheathed lines as well. Sheath versus unsheathed, I don't think it's a huge issue. I think people have seen it before where sand might be getting into the fibers, expands the core of the line, and then it shrinks a little bit, but we sent ours to get retrimmed, and they were within normal values. So you won't destroy your glider in one afternoon, unless you would destroy them in the grass as well. And the big trade-off for me is, if you go running every day, it's going to be good for your health, but it's going to be bad for your shoes. So which one do you prefer?
It's kind of like, what's the point in having
running shoes,
a perfect glider that you can't use well versus a slightly more used glider that you are more safe and able to fly with.
Exactly. From our experience, we ground handle a lot and fly a lot at the beach where there's salty air, there's sand and everything, and we haven't seen any huge issues. So if you're still watching at this point, it's probably because you're quite interested in the topic, and if you want to get your ground handling to the next level, we still have some limited spaces for our ground handling retreat.
Yep, June time, I think, is the one that we have the spaces on. We've filled May.
June, so this spring coming up. So there will be links everywhere to that, and also if you prefer to do your own studying and practicing, we have our ground handling online course.
And just so that you know, if you do sign up for the ground handling retreat, the course is included, the full course is included.
Yes, so you don't need to do both.
Yeah, don't do both. Either do come and then get both.
You can do it, but we'll refund you.
Yeah.
As always, we want to say a big thank you to all of these lovely people on Patreon and YouTube memberships for supporting us through such a long period. We really appreciate it. We're working on lots of cool stuff in the background, but sometimes life takes you away. And
even if we're not here on the videos, we're still here and we're still doing stuff.
That's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next time.
Oh, and happy ground handling.
Yes.
No,
No, this is it. I'm going to keep it.
No.